Okay, hey guys. We are on call 2 of our series of 3 training calls as we're kind of learning about this opportunity with our launch into Australia. So if you were with us on Monday, awesome. If not, we do have a recording of it. I would encourage you to start there. It's kind of some more high level stuff, but I think it just helps set the tone for kind of understanding where you're at with it, being clear with who you are, and being clear with what your offer is. That was a lot of, kind of the content of what we talked about on Monday, and a couple other things were just about like making sure that you're, first of all, taking a deep breath and remembering that there's enough success to go around. There is still massive success to be had here and in Canada. And don't feel overwhelmed by this. Feel excited about it. So whatever is making you feel overwhelmed, thank it for being there and its energy, and then release it and bring in the excitement, because that's what's really going to help you with this opportunity. So align your expectations with your goals and your daily habits. We talked a little bit about that. So if you're looking to maybe add 1 business partner in the first 6 months, or maybe 2 business partners in the first month that we launched there, just make sure that you're aligning your reality with that, and your daily tasks and your habits and your work ethic with that goal. Like we said earlier, casting a large net is going to cause anxiety. So we really want to make sure we're narrowing in on who we are, what our offer is, who our market is, and putting our blinders on and really just getting to work and feeling good about our goals, and believing that what the work we're doing aligns with what we're trying to get out of this opportunity. So that was a little bit about that, but I'm not going to recap that whole thing. Let's talk about the strategy. So today is going to be maybe 15 or 20 minutes only on some strategy of what we can do to get rolling with this opportunity. So we feel good about where our feet are planted, we feel good about our mindset, and we feel good about our expectation for that. So now let's shift and pivot and talk about how we can make a game plan. So one thing that I would encourage you guys to remember is that throughout this journey, it's our job to share, right? It's our job to share this opportunity, to share these products. It doesn't necessarily have to be, I think a lot of people look at this opportunity only as an opportunity to add business partners. This is also a selling opportunity, an opportunity to get this premium activewear brand into people's hands in Australia. So it's our job to share the opportunity and to share the clothes with people there. So as you're kind of thinking about your next move, just remember that our main job is to be sharing the gift that was given to us with other people. Here's a couple examples of some of the things that I've done. You guys may have done some of these. I haven't done all of these, but I've done some of them, and I'm just going to briefly kind of talk through them. So really, one of the questions that people often have is, how do I meet people? Where do I find people, right? That's the nature of the business. We're in a people business. We're in a network marketing business. So we're networking through different markets to meet people and to grow our business. So here's some of the ways that I've done it. I didn't know anybody in Australia when this first launched. I was like, man, Australia, like I got to pull out a map. Like I don't even know time zone. I think they're 13 hours ahead of central time zone. So it's 9:07 in the morning there on Thursday right now. So yeah, I think that's right. So I did some of that basic research just to kind of get a little bit of a feel for like where I was even trying to start, working and growing. But I was like, all right, so if I don't know anybody, how can I use my current network, and how can I use the current platforms that we have for free to build relationships? So here's one of the first things that I did. I'm going to pull up my Facebook really quick. And where is it? Okay. I'm going to share with you guys one of the very first posts that I did. And I haven't done a ton because I don't want to just inundate people, and I don't want to be like super overwhelming with this whole thing. So I want people to really still like trust it and believe it. So here is one of the first things that I did. So I went onto my Facebook profile on September 13th, and I put just a picture of myself, because we know pictures of ourselves or our families are going to get people to stop their scroll and at least take a look at it. So I just said, Australia, meet Zaya. We're looking for brand partners. I made this in Canva. It didn't take me very long. And I said, it has been so much fun connecting with men and women out in Australia regarding our upcoming launch there. Do you know someone who might be interested in learning about this opportunity? Typically, I try to put the call to action in one of the first couple sentences, because a lot of people are never going to click your see more, whether we believe it or not. So I like that call to action, the most important part of my message up top. Currently, we have no active brand reps in Australia, and we are looking to partner with a few key individuals to launch Zaya there. It is an enormous opportunity, and I'm so excited. My job is to be honest, present the opportunity, understand if it could be a mutual fit, listen, and answer questions. It is not my job to persuade anyone to do this. I want to share this gift with the right people at the right time for the right reason. It absolutely changed my life and will change others as well. And then I put this, I will handle all referrals with the utmost care and concern. I appreciate you. Because, hey, listen, if somebody's going to trust me, if someone's going to say, hey, you know what, I do have a connection there, someone who I really care about and I really trust and like, I want them to know that if they're going to refer me to someone that they care about or someone in their network, that I'm going to do a great job of being honest and sharing information and not being persuasive, but really coming from a genuine place of, hey, listen, this is the opportunity. And we'll talk about in a minute about what to say. And this is why, I mean, it changed my life, right? So I want people to know that they can trust their people with me when it comes to this opportunity. So that's one thing that I did. I shared that on Instagram, on my story or the blocks or whatever one stays, you know, forever, not the 24-hour thing. And then on my Instagram, I also put huge opportunity. Do you know anyone who lives in Australia? Yes or no? And it's just a poll. I literally did an Instagram poll and people responded. Because when you put on Instagram, do you know anyone who lives in Australia? And if you do, if I'm reading that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I do actually know, because it's kind of a cool thing to know somebody who lives there, right? Like, so a lot of people, not a lot of people, 3 or 4 people said yes. And then I connected with them and kind of told them what I was looking for, why I was looking to connect with people, and how this opportunity is coming about, basically. So I did that on my Instagram, on both, you know, the stories and the, I don't know what it's called. What is it called, guys? Like the box part? I don't know. I continue to bring it up, not every single day, but I'm bringing it up pretty regularly. If I'm going live on my VIP page about something exciting and I know there's viewers on, or I know people are going to rewatch it because maybe I'm announcing like a winner for something, I'm going to say, hey guys, also just a reminder, we have not launched in Australia yet. I've had a couple of really good conversations with people. And we're looking to, I'm honestly looking to link arms with a few men and women who will be like our leaders in Australia. So it's a huge opportunity. If you know of anybody, I would love to be introduced. It would mean a lot to me. And obviously I'll take the conversation, the relationship, you know, take care of it with white gloves. So I'll say that kind of stuff when I'm doing a live, because a lot of times people aren't going to see your posts. I bet there's a lot of people in your VIP page who don't even know that we're going to Australia. So I just try to sprinkle it in here and there without plastering stuff like, oh my God, if you know somebody in Australia, I need to talk to them right now because I need them on my team because this is a huge opportunity and they could make $1 million. Right? Like, red flag, sounds sketchy. This is why MLMs have a bad name. So just be very like genuine when you do it. So those are things that I've done. 2 other places, 3 other things. Let me start in order. I said this last time, I am not opposed to cold messages. I am opposed to copy paste sent to 1 million people in one day, because I think that's just, I think there's an opportunity for burnout there as a rep. And I think it creates false expectations. And if I send 20 messages a day, well, then after the first week, I should have at least one new rep joining me. I think sometimes it can create false expectations, and then it doesn't happen. And the rep's like, oh, I can't do this. It didn't work. I didn't get lucky. I didn't flip an ace. I do think cold messages can be done very tactfully though. For example, I just screenshotted one that I had sent to someone. I haven't done a ton of them simply because I just am trying to like get my feet underneath me with other stuff going on and everything else. But I am going to make a commitment to start doing it more often. Let me grab the one that I just saw and sent. Hey, Rachel, my name is Leah. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm a leader in one of the fastest growing activewear companies in the United States. All of you are leaders. You do not have to be a Doubles Eye executive to say that, FYI. And we are soon launching in Australia. Based on your profile, I think you might be an awesome fit for one of our ground level reps. It's truly a wild opportunity, as I am one of the ground level reps in the United States. Everybody can say that, you guys. We're 4 years old. Every single one of you is a ground level rep. Would you be open to having a conversation, or could I please send you more information? Can't wait to hear back. Have a great day, Leah. And then I'll add something like, also saw that you have 3 boys. I do too. Life is hectic. Can't wait to hear from you. Sometimes I'll send a message like that, like the one that I just gave you guys, and I'll follow up with a voice message so that they know I'm a real human on the other end of this thing. And I'll say, hey, also, I forgot to mention, we actually have an informational call coming up. I'd love for you to be on it. Or, hey, you forgot to mention, I also have 3 boys. So please take your time in responding. I get how hectic life can be. But I follow up with a voice message sometimes, right? Because I want them to know, 1, I'm a human. 2, I care about their well-being. And 3, I genuinely have something that they might want to hear about. There's a lot of people who hear cold message and they're like, oh my gosh, if you send 1 cold message, like, you're so old school MLM, like that's so trashy. I don't think it is if you do it gracefully. Here's why. People don't know what they don't know. One of my best friends, Ellie, was reached out to by Chrissy Teiger on Instagram with verbiage very similar to what I just shared, not even as personal. And Ellie said yes. And because Ellie said yes, I did. And I am now home with my 3 kids, living a life completely by design. And had Ellie not gotten that message, I would be bartending. I would be working in an office, which I love all those things. I actually might go back and bartend because I love the social part of it. But I wouldn't have the gift that I do today of Zaya. That's why I don't think they're necessarily this horrible thing that sometimes they're made out to be. Okay. If you are going in with the right intention and you are genuine and you're like, I'm sending this message because I 100% believe that I have this gift to give somebody, and this opportunity is huge and it can change and impact their life the way it did mine. Great. Like I commend you. Go for it. Just don't throw bodies against the wall to see who sticks. Right. So yeah, Michelle, Ash reached out to Michelle on a cold message. When we went to Canada, Shala was a cold message. I reached out to her and I saw she was in fitness, and I saw she had a son, Caden, and I was like, hey, no idea. I know this is out of left field, but you have a super cute profile. We're going to be expanding a premium activewear brand into Canada, and I'm looking for a couple ground level people to launch this brand there with me and to share this brand and be on the front line. Do you have any interest in talking? Is there a time that we could quickly chat? And Shala was like, hell yeah. And now she's rocking it in Canada. So I think that there is an art to it. It does take consistency. It does take commitment. It does take resiliency, because it's not like a warm message. If you reach out and someone's like, hey, you know what? I do have a contact in Australia. Chances of you having more progress with that person as a warm contact versus a cold message that you send on Instagram, it's much higher. Okay. We know that. And that's okay. That's how it should be. That's been like the history of network marketing and sales forever. So I don't think they're terrible. Okay. So what else? LinkedIn. If you use LinkedIn for anything, LinkedIn is a huge resource that people don't use. I used LinkedIn when I started at Zaya. Here's why I love it. Because again, people go back to that cold messaging is bad sort of thing, but in reality, you can search people who had the same career as you, maybe people who worked at the same company as you at one time, people who went to the same school. You can search all that. You can find commonality. It's not like you're just reaching out to some 94-year-old guy in his house who doesn't own a pair of anything outside of Levi's, you're not just shooting in the dark. Like you can find commonality with people on LinkedIn. Like when I started with Zaya, I went through and I used to work at Northwestern Mutual, and I was in development there, and I searched other people who had that same role because I knew they were typically female around my age. And I said, hey, I see that you work for this agency, awesome company. I worked there for a while myself, and I actually recently joined a network marketing company. Nothing I thought I'd ever do. It's called Zaya Active. It's premium activewear. And based on my experience from Northwestern, it has helped me tremendously in Zaya. And I'd love to share more with you because I think it could be a really great fit. Would you be open to hearing more? So LinkedIn was really helpful. I think it could be. I haven't used it in years now, but I think LinkedIn could be a great tool. Facebook messages. I don't do Facebook messages. I don't know a ton about it, but if it's something you're comfortable and familiar with, you could try it. Not my thing, but just another option. So there's all these different things, all these different ways that you can reach out, that you can continue to connect with people. I went to see my chiropractor and he's like, hey, what's new? 99 times out of 100, I say, oh, nothing, just hanging out, doing the mom thing, Leah, what's new? You work for a company that's having an international expansion into Australia, and hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people's lives are going to be changed. Again, if I was the owner of Starbucks, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm just going to put one there and see what happens. No, like I know it's going to take off. I know there's going to be people there who want mentoring and help and are going to have massive success. So anyways, I say to my chiropractor, oh, not much. Actually, I said, I've been pretty busy lately because I work for an activewear company and we're expanding into Australia. And I've been working to work with people to really be on the front lines of launching the brand there. Like, do you happen to know anybody? Guess what? He did. Shockingly. A lot of people are like, oh no, but like if anybody comes to mind, I'll let you know. What's the worst that can happen? They don't know anybody, but now they know that you sell activewear, so they're looking for a gift for somebody, or they need a new pair of leggings, if it's a woman or whatever, or a new pair of joggers, maybe they'll ask you about it and maybe you'll have a new customer here. So I think just being aware and being comfortable, which is why it's so important to have that first call of understanding your story and understanding your offer and why you're here. Why is that important to you? Why is making sure that other people know about this opportunity important to you? It all stems from that. Because if you don't know that, you're going to find yourself never really knowing what to say. And that's kind of an awkward spot. So those are some of the things and ways that I've shared so far. Zach Bradley said that he was willing to jump on calls with people if they had prospects. Guess what? He is, because I asked him. This team, if we want to host a Discover Australia call in 2 weeks and we all have one prospect or maybe none or maybe 4 that we want to bring to it, I'll gladly ask Zach to lead that call. And then you can say, hey, guess what? In 2 weeks, we actually have the president of the organization, the president of the company, speaking with just a handful of prospects about this opportunity. And I'd love to invite you to that call. Those are all things that we can do, you guys. Like sometimes we just don't think outside the box enough, right? And sometimes I need to be challenged because I haven't thought of that yet, but why don't we do it? Let's schedule it out for 2 weeks on a Wednesday or a Thursday and be like, I could say, hey, Zach, are you open to doing this at this time, this date? He's probably going to say, yeah. And then we get a whole team of people who are doing this and they're personally inviting 2 to 3 people or 1 to 2 or whatever. And they get to hear from Zach. That's really powerful, you guys. If somebody invited me to a call, if they were like, hey, we're launching this new activewear brand in the States. And actually I have 2 invites to offer to have people listen to the founder of our company, and you can ask questions and be interactive. I'd be like, oh, okay, now like this is actually pretty cool. So those are things we can do. But we should talk about that. I'm going to write that down before I forget, because he would absolutely do that for a team call. So those are all ways and things that you can use to start conversations. I'm just going to quickly look again at what information should I be sharing? Okay, so that's a good one. How much effort should I put in here and in what capacities? I think we talked about that. Our message is to sell the clothes and share the opportunity right now. And we just talked about ways to do that. You should be putting 100% in effort, depending on what you want out of it. How realistic is expanding my business? 100%, 1,000,000% very realistic if you do the work, like without doubt. Okay, what information should I be sharing? I think that's important. So a lot of people are like, well, yeah, she said she's interested. So like, what do I say next? It depends where you're at in the conversation. My goal and objective has always been, and I've gotten better as I've done the business longer, is to listen and ask questions more than I talk. Because oftentimes they'll be like, sure, tell me more about it. And you're like, so we were an activewear company founded in Utah. We have new releases every single Wednesday. The minimum is $600 to have your website fee waived. I'm not sure what that'll look like in Australian dollars yet, but it'll be the same. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is too much. But like, what's too much and what's too little? I think it really depends on understanding the person and how the conversation is going. Typically, I might say something like, Awesome. Like, thanks for letting me share a little bit. We are a premium activewear company. We've been around for 4 years in the US and we've absolutely exploded. We've had one international expansion to Canada in January of 2019, which went over really well. And this is the second, the second country that we're expanding in ever. And so, um, I would say that. And then I would probably say, our mission is just to make people feel really good in what they're wearing. We have the highest quality activewear at a really great price point. And, you know, I wouldn't say so much. I would actually think about it before I say it, but those are a couple of things I would touch on. And then maybe I would say, basically I share the brand with other people, and every time that happens, I'm earning a commission and I'm earning an income by doing that. And we have 0 reps right now in Australia, and I'm just looking again. I'm looking for 1 or 2 or 3 people that I vibe with really well to take this thing straight to the top and to get this brand out there and a household name in Australia. So I might say something like that. I apologize because it was kind of all over the place, but every single one is so different. So I don't have canned language because my language isn't canned. I've got a skeleton and a framework, but it's never exactly the same because I just don't share that way. I don't like that. I like to keep it a little more personal. So I would say that. And then I think there's also opportunities, once we get this call scheduled. So then I would follow up and say, I know that's a lot of information right off the bat. Does that make sense? And what initial questions do you have? I never like to say, what questions do you have? Just because they're kind of like, what do you mean, what questions do I have? I have a lot of questions. What initial questions do you have? And they're like, okay, first, like, what are the minimums? Like, what do I have to do? How much do I have to buy every month? And then you guys know that, right? You don't have to buy anything every month. You know most of that. And if you don't, reach out and we can talk through those objections. It's really just that initial conversation. So what initial questions do you have? And they may say, I guess I've never done sales. Is that, is this something that I could even do? Absolutely. My background isn't sales either. That's a cool thing about this. Basically, I'm sharing about what I'm wearing every single day. And that's how I get the word out. So sales like scares me and was never necessarily a part of my background. I'm wearing the clothes and I'm sharing them, or you could say whatever your story is, you guys. And then usually I say, does that make sense? Yep. Okay. What other questions can I help you with right off the bat? Or I'll say, you know what, if they're like, oh, I don't even really know, I may say, well, let me give you just kind of an overview of what Zaya is and how it works. And then you can say, okay, can we just narrow in on this part a little bit more? Like, hey, you talked about shipping and clothes. Can we narrow in on that a little bit? Like, do I have to buy them? No, like everything ships straight from the warehouse to from the warehouse to the customer's doorstep. So we're not owning any inventory. So that's how those conversations kind of get started. But it's a lot about asking questions, right? So in the beginning, when you first get their permission, when you say, hey, can I share more information with you? And they say yes, you now have permission, but that doesn't mean you should stop asking questions. They should do more of the talking. Obviously you have to share a lot of information as you go through the process, but a lot of like, hey, I know it's been a lot of information. Like, how are you feeling about everything? Hey, I know that was a ton. Does that make sense? Or do you have any experience in this industry? Or what are some of the big, activewear brands that you wear, that people in your market wear? Like, is it like Lulu and Athleta, or what are some of your big brand names there? Create a relationship. Don't make it all about just the sales process. Take breaks once in a while to ask questions. Hey, actually, when you talked about what products we carry, I saw that you just had a baby. I lived in our light tights after because they were so compressive and felt really good on my stomach. When I was pregnant, they didn't because they were too tight, but that might be a product that you love once we can start shipping in Australia, right? So now I'm kind of setting the stage for that might be something that you'll love once you can actually buy this product. Oh yeah, like sure, that'd be cool to try. So anyways, I'm rambling, but you guys start to see how that happens and how you can kind of use really just like a genuine approach to making those conversations work. And if you're uncomfortable and you're like, hey, I've got a relationship, I don't know what to do next, I'm new, I'm uncomfortable, can we do a 3-way call? Call me. We'll keep it to 15 minutes. We can do a 3-way call. We can ask questions, get to know the person, do a face-to-face Zoom call. and make sure that people are really getting the right information and for the right reasons. So with that, I know that's a lot, but again, I don't want to overwhelm you guys right now. I even feel a little bit overwhelmed. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to have more conversations. But it's good just to check in once in a while. So was that helpful? You guys can unmute if you have any questions. Is there anything else you want to hear more about? Or from your expectations of this call, was there anything we didn't cover? Are you like, I need more on X, Y, or Z? Good. Kayla, you have two that are interested. So like that call with Zach would be helpful for you? If you had like a day.
I started reaching out shortly after Summit.
Okay.
And there's two that are very interested. They said they've been getting a lot of people messaging them. And I don't know, they said they were going to stick with me, but who knows? But yeah, I told them that we would probably be having some type of a call like before the launch, but they're waiting for more information. I invited both of them to my VIP group too, just so they can kind of see like how it goes and what you do and kind of get familiar with the company.
Yeah, super smart. Do you mind sharing your initial language? Was it an Instagram reach out?
It was, yeah. I don't know. I would have to, I can like drop it in the comments on,
okay.
Are you going to post the recording?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you're not comfortable sharing it that large either, that's fine. But I think maybe another good thing that we could do is have a Discover Zaya specifically for the Australian market. And again, we could do that with Zach, but we could probably even do one, early next week. And if he's unable to that early, I could lead it, but maybe to give somebody a space to go where they feel a little more connected. Let me try to figure out one for next week. So I want enough time for people to get people there. But maybe we could look at like mid next week and we'll record it. And that's even more content than that you can send to people who maybe aren't, or who are just kind of in that limbo period, because that's kind of a hard place to live. Okay. You guys, thanks for showing up. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you guys. Michelle, any update?